Right after the Second World War, a friend of our family's who knew that I was an artist or wanting to be an artist as a young guy brought me a gift from France. And he handed me a material that looked very much like what I'm holding in my hand right now. And my immediate comment was, oh, a piece of colored chalk. His response was, no, that's not colored chalk, that's called a pastel. And in Europe, artists have been creating some wonderful paintings using pastels since about the 1600s. And I thought maybe you would enjoy a set of those. And he was also an artist, so he instructed me on how to use the pastels, and I've been attempting to create pastel paintings ever since. And I do enjoy them. From time to time I've worked in oil paintings and acrylics and watercolor, but I can truthfully say that I enjoy the hands-on painting with pastels the most. And I feel that some of my better paintings were done with pastels. As a young guy, inquisitively, I said, what are pastels? And actually, pastels are pure pigment bound together with a choice of substances such as gum tragicant, gum acacia, or methyl cellulose. Gum tragicant and gum acacia are resinous substances that come from the Near East. Gum tragicant comes from a small shrub about 2 feet tall, and the resin is extracted from that shrub and powdered and ground up and emulsified, and that substance then is used to bind with the pure pigments to create pastel sticks. Gum acacia comes from the acacia tree, and the acacia tree can be pretty good size, and these substances they call tears of acacia gather on the outside of the bark of the acacia tree. Those are collected, dried, and powdered, and are used a number of ways. They're used in food substances today, they're used in the manufacture of watercolors, and they're used in the manufacture of pastel sticks. The amount of these substances that are added to the pure pigment determine how soft or hard the pastel can be. These that I've just shown you are called soft pastels, and this particular one is made by Sennelier. Is a very very soft pastel. Recently I took a workshop and was introduced to Terry Ludwig pastels, and they're not in sticks, but they're in little square cubes of pastel. They also are very, very soft. If more of the substance like gum tragicant, acacia, or methyl cellulose are added to the pure pigment, then you wind up with what are called semi-hard or hard pastels. An example would be one of these, which I'm sure some of you have seen in the art stores. And these are excellent for making fine lines to begin a pastel painting with, for creating the sharp edges that you might want to create. Also, pastels are available like this in a pencil form, with this part of the pencil, which we might call the lead, but it's not lead, it's pastel pigment and the additive substance to make it hard enough. You sharpen it down to a very fine point like this one here, and then you can create lines like those you might find in the iris of the eye. One additional form that has come into being just in the last few years is pan pastels. They're very much like Max Factor pancake makeup, and those are applied taking the pan and a sponge brush and picking up some of the pastel and applying it to the support for your painting. So this in essence are the various types of pastels, and I've created a list for you of the various manufacturers, and there are many of these types of pastels, and you're welcome to help yourself to one of those lists from over there on the desk. And at this time I'd like to take any questions that any of you might have about pastels.